So I spent like the last hour or so re-understanding how I even built this thing, so it's quite complicated. But let's start with the basics, which is the bay. The bay is going to have these attached to it, and then we can go ahead and get our all-in-one berth and our cockpit. Put them all there. Now, there are some parts that are redundant that I'm realizing no longer need to be part of the build, which actually clean up the hab, which makes it a little bit more useful. So you can go ahead and turn this into anything, captain's quarters, all-in-one, etc. But let's go ahead and continue. So the wings were initially a problem for me to understand because I forgot that I moved this Avon Tech hood backwards. Originally it was supposed to be up here, up to the front, but then I moved it back one. So what originally happened was that I took these Avon Tech cores, and one is initially put right there, and when this was placed forward, all I did was copy up. This creates a connection point between right here and right here. So go ahead and put that back. And that's going to create this little double stack, but as you can see, it's not actually connected to anything, because if we were to grab it, it'd actually move up just slightly. We don't want that though. So go ahead and just leave that there for now. The second piece here also is this Nova cowling, which does connect directly to the Avon Tech hood, so that's easy. And then the reactor also connects directly to the Avon Tech hood. Go ahead and just throw the shield on there as well. The discrete cargo isn't really necessary, but it gives it a good look, so you can go ahead and put that there. It does give you about 1,000 shielded cargo. It's a bit much, but you know, it's just there for the aesthetic. I don't really use shielded cargo anyway, so it's not like it really matters. The second thing that I did was that I did take this Stroud braking engine, and it does cover up the cockpit here. I do recommend downloading the M-class parts. If you don't download the M-class parts, there's like another thing for like adjusting tolerances, which makes placing objects a lot easier, so you don't have to do all that red placement stuff. You can literally just get it like super close like that. Now, one of the tricks that I actually learned that makes things a lot easier, especially when it came to like flip glitching or flip shifting, is that if you get a piece and you just like, let's just say that you were able to flip it, right? Normally this would actually be dropped down, but let's just go ahead and place that there. What you could do is you could just go ahead and select all, get all the pieces, and as soon as you grab it, it'll actually snap to the nearest point, like so. So it's a lot easier that way. So if you ever do like flip shifting, let's say for example, let's just go ahead and do it here really quick. If you were to take this item, it doesn't actually snap to anything. But if you were to just do a flip like this, and then leave it there, once you actually select everything, it'll just go ahead and snap to it. Super easy. So if you're not using mods, that is a good way to do the flip shifting. Now, let's go ahead and get rid of some of these. For one, these Avon Tech nose cones, we go ahead and put them there. Now, this Stroud piece connects to the top of this core. So when we move this over here, it's connecting directly to the top of this core. Okay, and then let's go ahead and flip this upside down just so we can get a better snapping point. Delete this. Now, the reason why this isn't actually connected to anything is because it originally connected to the Avon Tech hood. So all we need to do is go ahead and connect it via a little trick here with the Deimos pieces, which is this right here. We're gonna go ahead and put that there and then flip it, place it, and then we're gonna create a forced connection by using this Horizon weapon mount. This will force the game into believing that all these three pieces are connected, and now as you can see, it's all connected now. So let's go ahead and put that there. Now everything's connected. this Avon Tick intake goes on top of this. Let's go ahead and move that. Now, this Jishaku rapid railgun does go directly on top of either the Shroud Cap, or it can even end up directly on top of the core. That's going to be hidden, so you could go ahead and do that now, but we can go ahead and deal with the weapons later. Don't worry about that. These weapons are connected directly to the Avon Tech cores as well. You can go ahead and just place that there. Same for the other piece. We can just grab like another... Let's just go ahead and grab it here. Sorry for all the zoom-ins. If you grab this, just place that there. This is why that M-class mod is like really useful, or the tolerances mod, because you normally would not be able to do that, and that'd be a lot more difficult. So get that mod. I highly recommend it. Now let's go ahead and delete these parts because we no longer need them. The gears are going to be directly connected to the actual body. And here's actually a good example of how to do that flip shift. You can flip it once, flip it again, and release. Oops, sorry. You flip it once, flip it back, press B to release. Then when you actually select all, it'll just immediately snap to it. So for non-mod users, keep that in mind. Makes things a lot easier. I'm going to take this shielded cargo, go ahead and move over to here. Now this piece right here, there is a porthole that will connect to the bottom of this core, and that's when you can go ahead and move this Jishaku plate over here. Now since we have the tolerances mod, we literally could just place it down, grab this, select all, and it'll snap. Perfect. Same for this Jishaku piece. We can go ahead and just move it over here. Select all. It'll snap. Now, this particular Hope Tech piece is actually going to snap to the Shroud cowling, the very top Shroud cowling. And then this Nova cowling is actually going to be snapping to the Avon Tech core. So you're going to snap the pipes, the Hope Tech pipes, to this top Shroud piece, and this Nova cowling snaps directly to the Avon Tech core. Go ahead and delete that as well. This fuel tank is connecting to this side of the Avon Tech hood. So if we just place that there, select all, and move it, easy. These two pieces go directly on top of the Nova cowling. Delete these parts so we can slowly dissect what's going on here. This Nova cowling is going to connect directly to this bottom Shroud cowling. As you can see here, it is connecting directly to it. This is going to be needed later for this particular engine. This Avon Tech core is actually connecting directly to the back of this Avon Tech core. So when we take this, move down here, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be connecting these two together. This Nova cowling, however, is snapping directly to the Shroud cowling here. We need this Avon Tech core to not only create a little bit of, shape here, but it's also useful for connecting to this glow wing mid from Avon Tech. We're going to go ahead and put that there. This Nova cowling, this triangular piece, is actually connecting directly to this. This Deimos wing would go here, flip it back, release. And this Deimos wing connects all three of these pieces together. Now this was the part that I myself was having trouble understanding, but now I understand after seeing it. So this Shroud cap is actually connecting to this Avon Tech core. So if we were to go ahead and select all, it'll snap directly to there. This is to create a platform for this set of Hope Tech caps, and just to give it a little bit more shape to the overall wing. The last piece here is connected to this Deimos Belly 4, which of course connects to the Shroud piece, not the Nova Cowling. The Nova Cowling actually, the Nova Cowling is not only going to house this little collection of pieces here, which is a Deimos wing, a Deimos bumper, and a braking engine, but all of these pieces are connected via this Nova wing, which goes there. Oh, oops, there we go. Now it's actually properly connected. This Deimos bumper we'd place here. This braking engine we're going to go ahead and put here. And the only reason that we're using this Deimos wing is to create a little bit more filler for here, just to give it a little bit more to look at. You could also connect a weapon to the end of this to kind of make these braking engines look like missile pods. That is something else to do. Let's go ahead and take all of these and place them where they're supposed to go. And again, it connects to the Shroud cap and the Deimos Belly 4. Now, these two engines for the SA Slayton Aerospace engines, this engine is going to be connecting to this Nova Cowling, which should end up like that. And the second SA engine is actually connecting to this radiator, which creates that offset look. I'm also using this Avon Tech corner bottom port. This is connecting directly to this engine here, which goes as so. Since this engine is not connected to this, it allows a free connection point. Next, we take this Avon Tech wing and this Horizon weapon mounts. Place the weapon mount there. Place the wing there, and then select all, and it'll snap. This creates that angled tail fin, but also creates a nice little look down here at the bottom as well. It also gives a nice little split to the engines, which I think looks pretty cool. Now, this piece here is actually going to be connecting to this Avon Tech core. It does kind of merge into your hab, so you could always just move it back, but it doesn't have as good of a look for this particular engine setup. But you know, it's not really that big of a deal, because what can end up happening is it'll just end up a little bit further back. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more recessed, which is why it looks like this, as opposed to completely sticking out like this. That's just your preference, that way you can avoid too much clipping issues, because I know that clipping can be really ugly. Now, this Deimos belly aft is connecting to the back of, the back of this docker, which goes down here. And that's going to connect to this. This particular landing gear is connected to the bottom of this dwarf engine there, as well as this skeg. This skeg is going to be going right here. Select all. And let it snap. There you go. gives it a little bit more shape there. And that is the entire wing setup. You just basically copy everything over. And again, what you could do is you could just grab this, move it up, and that's when you can create the little cores. The core starts on the actual body, then copy up. You just move this back, and then just repeat the process for the other wing. And that's the ship. Now just a quick look on the inside just to show you how bad the merging is. And again, for the grav drive and the back 3030 White Dwarf engine, that's as much as it ends up clipping into the actual ship. But honestly, there's already so much stuff back here, or very little stuff back here, that it's barely noticeable, at least in my opinion. You could always move it back, especially if you do want to make full use of your ship. There is a little bit of clipping here. I barely notice it, but you know, it may be a little bit more important to you for your immersion or whatever, you know. So Just keep in mind there is a little bit of clipping in here. This one you could just move back. It doesn't have to connect the way that it does. And then you will see this here, but the cockpit is actually completely visible. You can actually fly without an issue in this ship, as you can see. So if you wanted to fly first person, you totally can, and you get a pretty cool cockpit-less look. But you could still see just fine if you did want to do first person.